Hello everyone and welcome to OEM Update webinar on the future of laser cutting. Before starting the session, wishing all our panelists and delegates a happy Navratri. Laser cutting is now one of the most widely used manufacturing processes in the world, whether it is aerospace, automotive, electronics, semiconductor, or even medical equipment. Laser cutting offers a huge range of benefits and uses. Laser cutting machines are increasingly being used for adding precision in cutting, engraving, and even welding. Further, laser cutting offers substantial benefits to the design or manufacturing process that helps products reach market more quickly and with less cost. Today, on this note, you are going to witness an engaging interactive session on the future of laser cutting. In this 90-minute session, leading industry experts will share their thoughts about the range of benefits of laser cutting technology. They will also take a sneak peek at the futuristic developments in the field of laser cutting that will help industrial manufacturers to improve their practices. We are sure it's going to be informative and useful for all our attendees. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor and privilege for me to introduce you to today's distinguished speakers. Today we have with us Dr. Arvind Patel, founder director of Sejanand Laser Technology Limited. Welcome, sir. He will be representing IMTMA today. Then we have Mr. Maulik Patel, Executive Director and International Business Development at SLTL Group, Sejanand Laser Technology Limited. Welcome, Maulik. Mr. Utkarsh Landekar, Head Laser Business and Exports at Mesa Cutting Systems India Private Limited. Welcome, Utkarsh, sir. And Mr. Amar Kanjha, CGM Technical Center, Amada India Private Limited. Welcome, Mr. Jha. To take this session forward, I would like to invite Dr. Arvind Patel. Dr. Patel is representing IMTMA, that is Indian Machine Tool Manufacturers Association, the apex body and single point contact for manufacture machine tools industry in India. He is the founder director of SLTL and the driving force behind all the R&D of the company. He has developed various machines based on laser technology and holds more than 25 patents. He was awarded with the National Award for Indigenization by the then President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Today, he is going to discuss about the laser cutting machine market in India, opportunities beyond 2020. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, all panelists and viewers. There's a huge opportunity in India as it is upcoming the industry, which is not grown till 20. So now there is a chance to India to be growing, accelerating in beyond 2020. So before 2000s or 2008, there was a 90%, 100% laser was CO2 lasers. Everybody going on the CO2 lasers. So we are the first as a SLTL was to be introduce a new technology which can be required for country like India and also all over the world. That more efficient way, energy efficient, faster, and very much lesser service oriented fiber laser technology, which doesn't require gases and everything. So that's why you see the trend that in 95 to 2000, it is in peak in time. That time we started and beginning with the fiber laser technology, and now mostly 100% laser for sheet metal cutting is fiber laser technology. We already have in 2007 introduced first in IMTMA and put in exhibitions, and after that we displayed to international market, America, Europe, and lastly they invited for Russia to represent for fiber laser. Till that time, people are not aware about the fiber laser technology and not interested to do this technology. But we have pioneered and we have done very aggressive work for the promoting this technology. So that's why they invited in 2008 in St. Petersburg, Russia. There's a company which is a high power fiber laser company, which is a IPG, and other company which is a developer fiber laser technology in Russia. There is an international conference about high power fiber laser technology and present a paper and show to the world, open up the world that it can be a next generation technology, and we can take a proud that India is the first who can introduce this technology to the world. And SLT also big proud that we are also main part of that. So you know that what is the future of that? So India is now considered growing very aggressively in a lot of segments. So that it is different industries can be worked out because India has a now tend to be how we can be Atmanirbhar and we will not depend on the other country to be manufactured and from low end technology to high end technology we should be self-reliance. So we have a lot of industries growing, and it is a chance to be beyond 2020 for manufacturing industry like furniture industry, textile machinery, shipbuildings. We have to do a lot of shipbuildings, sheet metal racks and panels, pharma machinery, packaging. We have also affordable house to be making. This can be one done by the just fabulous technology. I just give the example. I made my own house by using my technology, fabulous laser technology only, sheet metal only. No cement concrete, and then but external interior by other technological way. So that is also good trend, and this is a more economical way to do uh, low cost structures by structure way by cutting laser and welding and structure. Same with the automobile. Now you know the automobile is going the trend for the battery operated cell industry. There is a big industry there. So there is a lot of laser technology can be used. Electronics, electrical parts, defense. We supply a lot of lasers also defense. So in defense, there is a two-way it is work out. It can be direct energy weapon also work out in defense. So we also be little work in that project also. And big demand in India, as India is a more than 70% in agriculture dependence, and we have a huge potential for agriculture machinery manufacturers. There is also a lot of chemicals and petrochemical plants are coming up. Then also aerospace is also important parts. We have now making a lot of metros and railways ourselves, and that's require also bus coach and manufacturing. The very important part people are talking that even regular manufacturing can be replaced by 3D printing. So component can be directly made by laser. So today it is not as a laboratory grade, which is not much high production. But what we predict that in 2030, most of the component can be manufactured by not by regular machinery. It can be done by laser 3D printing. So you can make a component directly from the powder to the manufacturing as a usable component. Same with semiconductor industry, medical stands. So we medical equipments. We also making a medical stands, which can be used by laser technology to cut it very precisely. Cutting can be done. Very tiny component can be done and can be used for medical equipment like pacemakers to making cutting and welding can be done. Same with computer manufacturing. A lot of all structural fabrication, everything can be done very aggressively with these things. So this is a growth story of the to 2020 above, and this is not only India; it is already internationally work for that growth, and this will be good opportunity, not only India but whole world, and particularly the technology of fiber laser technology. Thank you for hearing to me.
Now, in this session of OEM Update webinar on the future of laser cutting, I would like to invite our next speaker, Mr. Utkarsh Landekar. Mr. Utkarsh is the head laser business and exports at Mesa Cutting Systems India Private Limited, a global supplier of cutting edge solutions for the metalworking industry. He has got more than 25 years of experience in thermal cutting machines. So today, Mr. Utkarsh is going to talk about making the smart choice in laser cutting machines. So let's welcome Mr. Utkarsh. Welcome, sir.
So, good afternoon, gentlemen. This is Utkarsh Landekar. I have been working with Larsen Toubro for 22 years, and last 7 years have been working with Messer Cutting System. The primary field I have been working is welding and cutting. The last 7 years have been dedicated for cutting, and we will be just going through our views on the laser cutting. It was a nice talk by my previous speaker that how the laser is catching up in the industry. So here we are application oriented company, so we will be giving our views on the laser cutting. This is our beautiful factory in Coimbatore. This is a German company outside Germany. If you are in South India, in Coimbatore, you are welcome to see this factory, which has a complete facility available for fabrication, heat treatment, machining to produce gas cutting, plasma cutting, and laser cutting machine. And we also have a technology center here for the application development. When we look at this total integrated factory, which is helping us to build the machine here with all the key components which are globally developed, engineered in Germany by our global engineering team, this factory turns out to be a blessing for all the Indian customers who are definitely looking at a German product at a reasonable price and a total backup support. Here there is no compromise on any of the manufacturing facilities or service or anything that would be required to work on any product. Just to give a brief background of Messer cutting system, the first CO laser cutting machine was built by Messer in 1970. Over the time, it was working in a way where we were focusing on laser cutting on large format, and only until 2007, where our regular customers who were gas cutting, plasma cutting customers, they made us get into the standard format laser cutting machine. But nevertheless, we are not forgetting our roots, and we will be definitely getting into the total solutions wherein gas cutting, plasma cutting, and laser will be offered as a thermal cutting solution, let it be any technology, any function. Our total product portfolio forms from axial plasma cutting machine, laser cutting machine, spare part, consumable, and full range of gas cutting equipment and gas supply system. And we also do the retrofit of plasma and laser cutting machines. This is our ultra motivated team where we are handling 1200 plus plasma cutting machine and 40 laser cutting machine. So this entire team is responsible for SAARC countries, Middle East, and the machines are also exported to North America and Europe. So we are proud to say that we are producing global standard machines, wherein the thermal manufactured in Coimbatore are definitely going to the world across. Now we get back to the basics. Engineers spend their entire life to shape the metals, let it be flats or longs. Flats can be thin sheets, medium and thick plates, and the longs can be angle channel and flat plates. So there is a specific process and there is a specific way how you deal with it. Our 122 years old experience gives us a clear-cut bubble diagram which makes the operating range of all the three processes. Let's say laser will be 0.5 millimeter until 25 millimeter, 1 millimeter up to 150 millimeter plasma, and 6 mm thickness until 300 mm will be oxyfuel. This is for mild steel. Of course, for stainless steel and aluminum, the things are a bit different. The oxyfuel bubble is missing in this, but the gross bubble always remains the same whenever you want to choose a process. So these processes are divided into oxyfuel, plasma, and laser cutting, wherein the operating range have been defined, the precision have been defined. But here the main heat affected zone varies in all the three process. But these three processes are very fast as compared to water jet and machining process. These are flexible for straight cutting as well as a bevel cutting, that is a chamfering on the edges, which will give you the clear cut edge which can be welded, which can be later on machined or just assembled as per the application need. So what is important here is what exactly you are going to do with the plate. Though the seminar is of laser, we are talking of all these three processes in combination as a thermal cutting solution and not only a laser solution. I will come to the reason of this when we go through some of the few next slides. Yeah, another reason for selection of the process would be what is the hole that is going to get cut. The hole is the main reason where the types of process start getting differentiated. Laser, the reliable holes are 0.7 times of the thickness. It can go a bit lower also, but the holes are not so good. Plasma between 6 mm up to 25 millimeter in mild steel can be cut in the ratio of 1:1, and in oxyfuel it can be 2:1. Also, another important factor is what is the surface finish that is going to do. So we really need to make a smart choice between all these three processes, whether is it really required to get into laser or there is another process which can substitute this. The reason that the time is available limited in the industry, So what is the process that will be fastest? So as per our standard calculation, when we see when you want to cut a 12 millimeter plate, the fastest process always becomes a plasma, and plasma has been scaled up to 600 amperes, which really cuts very fast, and no process can match it. I will just give an example. A 400 amps plasma, if applied on a appropriate machine, can generate a cutting speed of 18 meter per minute, which is not possible with laser. And this is the reason why when we say it's not only laser, though the seminar is of laser, we are discussing laser, we should really look into the application. So that is how we are also focusing on the job basis. I will be taking two examples in next slides. Yeah, oxyfuel is an age-old technology, 110-year-old technology. You can have up to 16 torches working together, and the jobs, if they are identical to be produced in mild steel, there is no process which can beat this, because you are practically outsmarting any of the process in this. And the thickness is between 6 mm to 300 mm, and probably no other process can even come nearby. So this process is still going to stay for the next few decades. Plasma cutting has been in a nascent stage, and right now it's in quite a matured stage between 1 millimeter to 150 millimeter, and still is one of our maximum sold machine across the world from laser cutting systems. And our name is reckoned with plasma cutting high technology, and the best of the plasma machines are produced by laser cutting systems. So plasma still remains a good process. What you need to choose is the right type of source, right combination, what material needs to be done. You need high speed lifter and correct software and correct format of the machine in order to use the plasma. Running cost also plays an important role. Now if you see the running cost of plasma and laser up to 20 mm are about near about, but after 20 mm then let's say take 50 mm, plasmas is very expensive, oxyfuel is still cheapest. And for the 50 mm in cutting by laser, there is a really a big rat race initiated by our friendly neighbors across Himalaya, and these people are talking of 30 kilowatt, 40 kilowatts, and God knows where it is going to end. But these our friendly neighbors are really making everybody confused that laser cutting machines are going to replace oxyfuel and plasma. So what to say? So we need to choose the right process at right appropriate productivity, and what is a post cut operation that needs to be looked. So what a customer has to generally look into the breakup of the curve losses, that is the material burning, what is the cost of the gases, what is the power cost, what is the cost of maintenance, what is the investment cost, consumable cost, material yield, and cost of manpower. Here most important is the capital cost. The cheapest machine need not be the most economical running machine. After 3-4 years, maybe that machine becomes a liability. Or the most expensive machine need not be the most economical or highly productive machine. So one has to really strike a balance, and we have a proper team of application engineers who will be looking into your application study and apply these 8 parameters and then recommend you, oh, this is the right solution for you. Laser machines are available in standard formats. So whenever we close our eyes and say laser cutting machine, the picture what is shown only comes into pictures. It's a rectangle tiffin box with a palette changer. So everybody says when it is a laser cutting machine, it is like this only. Well, partially it is true. The race is on in this format, but there are other formats of machines as well. These machines are been designed primarily in the first world countries, and I really don't know why 1.5 by 3 meter, 2 meter by 4 meter. These are not the size of plates used in India. In India, we use 1500 by 6300, 2500 by 6300. So the machines are not designed, but we are of course proud to say that we have designed the machines which can take care of all sizes of machines, and we also follow the size, and we have also developed the custom built sizes, and of course all the functions of automatic height calibration, alignment, zip cut, scan cut, edge control, 1G, 2G, 3G, all this acceleration we are definitely looking into. Next comes the format of the machine. Our again referring to our they are promoting the open type of machines. They are not really concerned about the eyes of Indian customers. So they are promoting, they are least bothered. They just ship out the machine, and what happens to the worker, what happens to the workshop supervisor or the owner of the company, they are not bothered. there has to be a right controller. So in future, when you are looking at a laser cutting, plasma or gas cutting machine, the controller should be IoT enabled. It should communicate with other machines, and it should be ready for Industry 4.0, so people can definitely hook up the machine. The controller should be able to take all the local material available and all types of drawing formats. It can be, let's say, Trum, Pamara, or Bystronic. The controller should be able to take the drawings derived out of that or from any other nestings. So our recommendation is we stick between 1 to 6 kilowatt. We are capable of integrating higher thicknesses, but this is a chart which is practically proven and economically available. I have seen a lot of things going on social media everywhere, that people are talking of 40 mm, 200 mm cutting with laser. It's ridiculous. The machines are not able to handle the things. They cannot handle that. And imagine moving 100 mm plates over that, or a pallet changer and cutting. So don't overbuy the machine, and buy the appropriate head and appropriate power source. Yeah. So we as Messer, we always again come back to our bubble diagram, and the laser can be in 8 kilowatt, 10 kilowatt, 12 kilowatt. Yes, we are capable of integrating, but we today I am going to share you one technology called as a combo, which is a combination of laser and plasma. So customer wants the job to be done economically. If the hole is 30 mm and you are cutting on a 10 mm, why do you need a laser? Or if you want a large area to be cut, why do you need a plasma or whatever? So let's take one of the example. The nesting has to be done properly. The process to be calculated. Optimized solution to be worked out before you even start cutting. So you have to make a right choice between any nesting that is available, and study and derive the formulas before even you start cutting. Now, like again, the rat race of the high power is going on. Here are the examples of 12 kilowatt laser. The edges are really bad. It looks like somebody has taken a chisel and made the job out of it. This cannot be termed into a laser cutting with the top known name, the laser cutting source, and top known laser cutting head. So one needs to make a smart choice. Speed is not always the criteria, and large format laser need not be always be taken. One need to really optimally take the so again, example, if you want to cut 25 millimeter stainless steel on a laser, the previous example you see, and you see the finish that is obtained out of plasma. So when we look at this, any layman would say, I would prefer to the left side. But then the question comes for the holes. So I will take it in the next slide. So if you look at the surface finish, beyond 10-15 millimeters, a different story. And in plasma, definitely you can get a very good surface finish, and really don't have to do anything in many applications. But lasers will be very, very rough. So if you take a next job wherein you require automatic holes, so laser and plasma combination can do the job in 77 seconds, and the laser needs 84 seconds. So this is the process what we would like to definitely promote and propagate, and we request our honored attendees to look into this. These are the large format machines wherein the combination technology can be used, and it has been successfully implemented in India and in Middle East. And these all equipments are ready for ERP connection, nesting, proper design, optimize, and they are ready to continuously give you your backup on a mobile app, and you can monitor your factory with this laser cutting, plasma cutting, and gas cutting. And these technologies can really tell you what exactly is happening, how to optimize, how to economize. So this is what we feel is the future that is coming up.
Thank you so much, Mr. Utkarsh, for sharing your valuable thoughts on the making smart choice of laser cutting machine. Uh, Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to invite a very prominent personality in the laser cutting technology industry or laser technology industry. That's Mr. Maulik Patel. Mr. Maulik is the Executive Director and International Business Development at SLTL Group, that is Sajanand Laser Technology Limited. He is responsible for global business for SLTL Group since 2015. SLTL Group has been the center point for revolution of fiber laser for sheet metal cutting application, as being the world's first fiber laser cutting machine manufacturer in 2002. Today, Maulik is going to tell us on how Indian laser cutting machine manufacturers are transforming themselves to align with advanced manufacturing process. So delegates, let's welcome Mr. Maulik Patel. Welcome, Maulik.
Yeah, so thank you for inviting me, and thank you for the opportunity given to express my views on how Indian laser machine manufacturers are transforming, and what is going to be like the future of laser cutting systems. I think a lot of things have been covered by Dr. Arvind Patel as well. That the way I think the entire journey had started from CO2 to fiber. I think the term laser cutting is more now has happened is where if you talk about in 90s or till 2010, I think it was CO2 laser which was dominating, and now fiber laser cutting is dominating. So the way we are living into a new normal, the same new normal is laser cutting means fiber laser cutting. So that is the new normal, and that normal has been created. We should be proud of that. It's been created by India, of course. One thing is also there that the laser cutting industry is going through a different aspect, where initially it was happening where the high-end job shops where the companies like big companies, they were able to afford laser cutting machine. But today what has happened is even the biggest growth is happening from an SMEs, small and medium enterprises, or a captive usage customers. They are looking at laser cutting machine and trying to have that in-house sheet metal fabrication, and the entire journey is going through that. It is very difficult to predict the future, but yes, I think the future is going to be more onto an automation aspect when it comes to advanced processes of whether it's laser cutting. So as in certain Western countries, when it will happen late in India, but I think eventually it will happen sometime, maybe 5 years down the line or so. The way fiber laser has picked up after so many years, I think the same scenario is going to happen for India as well. Where in case of when the labor and things get expensive, people are going to opt for a high-end automation solutions. And when it comes to an automation, probably there are going to be things like lights of operation, which are the terms of Western countries. The same thing will be visible and will be discussed in Indian context as well. That's what we look at. And then of course, digital. I think our Prime Minister is also focusing on Digital India. On the same aspect, I think the new terms like IoT, digitization, Industry 4.0, all of these words which have been coined. I think once you have a machine, I think people are looking forward that the way there are autonomous cars, there is going to be a sheet metal shop which is going to be running on its own. So of course, in Western countries, few companies have started doing in that direction. I think eventually it will happen in India as well. So digitization, IoT, and getting the data into their fingertips is going to be one of the key aspects. But it is not just about data. I think it is about much more. IoTs or Industry 4.0 or digitization is much more than just data. So even we as a company, we have our own platform for the same, and we had always been future ready for everything which is about to come. As I shown this one, this was done in 2016. So again, we were way ahead of time as a company. But yeah, that's very futuristic stuff. The way it is going to be handled, advanced processes. And of course, I think it's going to be more of the way we look at it is like, as I said, autonomous operations of along with artificial intelligence and motion control system, optimized motion control, Industry 4.0, or vision system along with the laser cutting machine. I'm talking about a lot of complexity into the system. But yes, eventually, if autonomous cars are possible, then yes, the future of laser cutting machine will be much more digitized and much more, what do you say, kind of, I wouldn't say manless, but I think it would be more future ready, where the machine and a man would be collaboratively working for achieving, the relatively goals.
Thank you so much, Mole, for talking about how the advanced technology, IoT, Industry 4.0, is going to transform the laser cutting industry and the entire manufacturing process. Thank you so much for sharing your perspective. We would like to welcome Mr. Amarkant Jha of Amada India Private Limited. Mr. Jha is having more than 20 years of experience in the field of sheet metal industry. He is presently working in Bangalore Technical Center of Amada India as a Chief General Manager, handling key responsibilities of customer support and technical center planning. Mr. Jha will discuss on how to find the right metal cutting solution for application among laser and plasma. So welcome, Mr. Jha.
The topic today I was given is like how to choose between plasma and laser. So already there are quite discussion on this topic with the previous panelists. So I'm going to explain about like what Amada's view or what is Amada's experience. So in Bangalore Technical Center, actually, we come across many customers who come with their issues like different types of applications they have, different types of materials they have. So they come with the technical person. We try to analyze these issues, what process is good for them, how can they make profit, how the running cost will be reduced. So all these consideration we take care of. Looking at this topic, plasma and laser. So I'm going to take you through a success study what Amada has witnessed in Japan. This customer in Japan is located in Saitama Prefecture with just 16 members. 16 workers. They mainly manufacture conveyor, crane, parking system, and the elevator. So mostly they are concerned with the thick material or mid-thick material. They were using plasma for quite some time, and when the machine got older, they decided for a new investment into laser system. They invested into Amada laser machine with a shuttle table where the material can be loaded, unloaded automatically, and also the IoT based software like Dr. AB laser and AP100 software, which were put on a network. So all this factory was totally digitized. So now the system is of IoT. So even Amada is way ahead in terms of IoT. We have developed our own virtual monitoring factory where you have to just pull the orders or whatever order is there from your ERP system or your from your production management system, feed it to the software, and software loads the schedule to the machine, and the operator has to just execute the schedule as per the order status, and you get a real-time status on your monitor. We call it as a virtual monitor or the V factory. So this system is completely IoT based system. In this case, what happened? Actually, just to summarize this case study, due to plasma accuracy limitation, as we know, laser is more accurate than the plasma. So small size holes were not able to cut using plasma. Like in case of laser, you can cut lesser than the thickness also. So in case of plasma, they used to make holes, small holes using a set press. And when you punch these kind of small holes, distortion also takes place. So because you have to remove the distortion, then secondary setup is involved. So the productivity was quite low. Also, plasma have a characteristic of taper cut. The edges are taper. So many times the products were rejected. The Japanese quality, how much they believe. So many times their jobs were rejected because of the taper angle. Also, the heat affected zone while cutting, the heat affected zone in plasma was much bigger than the laser. And because of this, the bridge material between the between the two parts are very high when you compare with the laser. In case of laser, when you are cutting 25 mm material thickness, Even 5 mm of bridge gap is enough. Sometimes even you can go with common line cutting. So there is a very extensive amount of material saving. The lead time, because there were no secondary process, also the small hole can be processed, no machining required to remove the taper. The lead time reduced, and also there was quite good amount of material saving because of the lesser width of the uh, bridge gap. So these were the effects. Now actually these things we have captured using a video which was shot in the factory. Will be interesting to see. It's little quite it's little old video, but we can see how the plasma has been replaced with laser. Now these are the process, like when you have a small holes, a drilling is required. In case of laser, uh, lesser than the material thickness, like 50% of material thickness can also be processed with good finish. Similarly, you can see here the particular job, 9 mm thickness, it was having substantial amount of taper. When they switched over to laser, this taper was completely eliminated. In case of laser, you can achieve a taper of 0.2, 0.1, even 25 mm material, you can achieve up to 0.5 taper. This is the secondary process they used to do. Like after cutting on plasma, they were making a small holes on a set press. But in case of laser, this process was eliminated. When it comes to the cutting finish, laser has a technology called as a wax, water assist cooling. So this kind of finish, like here, you have to do a secondary operation in case of plasma. But when they switched over to laser, this process was not required. This is the example of the material utilization using laser and plasma. How is the difference? In case of laser, the gap is as less as 5 mm in case of 25 mm thickness. So your utilization becomes way up. These are the skeleton. And apart from these advantages, laser also has the advantage of process like marking. So you can do marking on the material, and these marking were very useful, especially while doing the welding process. So you can locate your parts well, and you can do the welding correctly. Coming to the laser, fiber laser, uh, we have a perception like a fiber laser is good for thin material cutting, and it cannot cut all the ferrous, non-ferrous material. But using ANSYS technology, Amada has introduced this technology as a beam control technology. So whatever limitations were there, with a fiber laser. We have come up with that. So using this beam control unit, we can process from thin material to thick material with ease, faster speed, and with a very good cutting finish. Even 9 kilowatt laser, uh, we can achieve a pierce time of 1 second on 25 thick material. So here you can see the 25 being pierced at just 1 second time, and you can look at the cutting finish and the speed. So this is because of a auto collimation unit. You can see the cut surface of 25 thick mild steel using NCIS technology. And this customer's factory could observe a productivity increase of almost like the 72% time was decreased because the process of separate punching, stress removing, and yes, there was cutting time difference. Now, if you see, laser was like slightly slower than the plasma, but if you see the overall productivity, the laser gave much better output. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jha. Thank you so much for sharing the details on how to find the right metal cutting solution for application among laser and plasma, and sharing details about a case study as well, supporting the kind of advantages it has. Discuss on the futuristic development in the field of laser cutting that will help industrial manufacturers to improve their practices, because you already spoke about the kind of industry 4.0, all those stuff. Right.
So definitely, see, it is going to be the future, but I think, as I said, SMEs is the. I'm talking about India perspective, because every country is different, and the way we are growing at this point of time, the SME or MSMEs, these are the kind of segments which are actually procuring laser cutting machines, or entering into a sheet metal as a user. Okay, so that is going on the rise. Once they mature, probably there is going to be a era of automation. So definitely it is going to, and again as when we started with fiber laser way back as a development in 2002 2003, but as a product in 2007, it was only 1 kilowatt laser which was available. I'm talking about fiber laser. It was only 1 kilowatt laser which was available. But as the journey went through till almost 2000 and I would say 16, the maximum power, of course, there were laser power available, but the price was so exorbitantly high that it was not affordable. Even a 4 kilowatt laser or 3 kilowatt laser was not affordable, very expensive. And then I know, as I've been in since 10 years. Post 2016, the laser price dropped down, and then it became more affordable. I think almost there has been a price drop, and then the entire shift for probably so shearing machine is getting obsolete. Punching machine into certain application is still good, but yeah, certain applications where laser can take over a punching machine. Certain thin applications which plasma is not good, so that is also taken over. So laser is actually taking over some sort of plasma, punching, and shearing. So it is actually taking over even a reasonable amount of industry. That is the reason there has been a good amount of growth which you're anticipating, which is happening today and also in future.
Thanks, Maulik. Dr. Patel, you are one of the pioneers in laser cutting technology in India. So how do you see the kind of acceptance from the, because Maulik was also talking about the SMEs, SMEs and MSMEs. How do you see the kind of acceptance in Indian industry as of now?
Yeah, so I think when we started the laser technology, particularly first initially with the CO2 laser, we stand top CO2 laser for 3 to 4 years. Then we think that India is not mature for CO2 laser because there is a lot of gas is needed. So gas we have to import. But that's why it is not grow fast at that time. That's why we bring the new technology, fiber laser. Now it is a mature technology. As small entrepreneurs, even a small fabricators who are just making a sheet metal cupboards or home furniture. They are affordable for laser cutting because they are doing a manual process. Bending, cutting, and welding can be replaced by laser technology. So there is a strong matureness. We see the surroundings of a small entrepreneurs. You find out they're out of maybe not high, but it's about 20. At least one person is using a technology for laser technology for cutting and processing of sheet metal.
You were sharing about all three modes of cutting technologies, like you spoke about laser cutting, you spoke about plasma as well as oxyfuel, and you also said that these technologies can be utilized according to the requirement or need. My question is this: that
Yes.
what kind of
Yes.
research and development is happening across the world in regards to these three technologies?
What is happening is we are looking into the speed increasing, quality improvement, and finally getting into so the controller is capable of selecting the right process, selecting the right kind of burning losses, minimum positioning of the torch, thereby getting a fast cutting, as well as the because to improve the quality. Our earlier panelist said, there is a taper in the plasma, but now that taper is no longer is there because we can have a taper correction arrangement. So these are the main development. So recently, for example, we exported one machine to Middle East. It's a combination of laser plasma beveling. So there is practically no practical limitation up to 50 mm any process.
So, Jaji, I just wanted to understand from you, how do you see the kind of acceptance, like Mr. Patel was saying, within the SMEs and MSMEs? Is the cost factor a problem or affordability is a problem?
But if you look at today's financing options available, the kind of interest rates are falling. Nowadays, it's not going to be very difficult to get an equipment, particularly when the machines are available on lease as well. So, in fact, many of our customers, we have started offering the machine on lease. So affordability is one thing. Secondly, when you look at the possibility of having a machine, the machine should be in modular form. So suppose today you buy a plasma cutting machine and it will be upgraded into laser cutting machine if you are already planned for it. So we have formats of machines which are upgradable in nature from any process to any process.
Actually, if you look at the competition, especially in the laser cutting market, so people are too much confused right now. Like a laser machine which is available in 50 lakh rupees, 60 lakh rupees, why a company like Amada is selling at this rate? So the difference is in the technology. So the technology, like the beam control unit, the IoT concept, the complete process. So if customer is looking at a overall solution, for example, right from the order till the final shipment, the entire process has to be taken care by a good solution. So Amada is always working with the problem of customer, and we propose the solution for cutting process. We never think, okay, making only machine is just one part, but the solution, providing the solution to their production issues, that is our main. And we say customer success is Amada success. So we grow, customer grow, we grow. So that is our motto.
So how big is the market if we consider the laser cutting machines market, and how significant is the contribution of Indian manufacturers?
Market is growing exponentially. When in 2000 we have article given that what is the market in India, even including that time is only CO2 laser. So only 25 number of machine was there in India, the big country, India. It has only 25 machines. Today, maybe we have presently more than 5,000 machines, and future of that machine should be reached every year to be more than 1,000 machines to be increasing small segment to big segments. As India has still to do a lot of infrastructure work. So there is a huge demand for fabrication works. So without fabrication infrastructure, you cannot do with laser or other technology which can be sheet metal process. So it is going to be grow exponentially, and maybe in every year there is a big market for that. So, and also Indian manufacturers has a good chance because now we have to require, and our main motto of the country is vocal to local. So this is also an Atmanirbhar Bharat. So that's why a lot of small entrepreneurs and manufacturers we going to grow it and going to be make laser technology indigenously in India.
How do you see the preparedness of the Indian laser cutting machine manufacturers to meet the quality which is going to be actually key criteria for the next level of manufacturing?
During lockdown, I think India was having no mask manufacturers. Right? There was kind of almost zero mask manufacturers, and then people were having questions on the mask. But as the lockdown went over, I think the India had a lot of mask manufacturers. I think the same scenario is happening for even the sheet metal industry as well. As it grows, the way post World War, Japan was considered to be very cheap goods, and then China took over on that, and now Japan is considered to be a very high quality goods. Right? It's the kind of image which has been as a country has been created into the world market. The same way, the way I think this new government and the new policies which are being framed, they're all favoring to manufacturing in India and looking at to the real long-term perspective. I think as the growth is going to happen, I think as an Indian company, we all are poised to make sure that we are conquering into a global market and not only an Indian market. So when it comes to a global market, you have to have global standards. You have to be understanding all the global scenarios, and the quality level of each and every product has to be of that level where it is the scenario like we have to do it, and we are as a company and we as a country, we are all doing it. It is like India never saw the 3G market or the 2G. We directly were moved to a 4G market. So if you look at that perspective, we got the latest technology being a developed nation, wherein other countries are already having that old technologies and they are forced to have that stuff. But in case of India, I think we got the latest technology, so we have the least amount of pricing when it comes to a single call or an SMS or whatever. Same thing, same scenario, exact same is happening into a sheet metal industry or a laser cutting industry as well. So the Indian manufacturer is definitely poised for not only for India but also for global market.
So what are the challenges you see for the Indian laser cutting machines manufacturer?
So the primary challenges what we are facing is the price of the powers. Like what is given to our neighboring countries, those prices are not given by the laser power source manufacturers. And as a matter of fact, there are only two main power source manufacturers which are coming from Europe, and the Japanese ones, let's say Fanuc, etc., are a bit expensive. But the local power source manufacturer like Max Photonics and Raycus, they are giving at a very, very low price, and the question is of the reliability, because nobody has seen them working more than 3 years. So that is a primary challenge. And second challenge what we are looking at is the awareness of the laser safety. So the machineries which are coming at a very, very cheap price are not safe machines, and the awareness measure, we try to create a lot of awareness, but somehow this people are not understanding the awareness. Like in coronavirus, our prime minister is telling wear a mask, nobody is wearing. So in the same way, if we say that don't use an open laser machine, people want to use open laser machine. So that's the two primary challenges why the growth is not at so fast rate.
Yeah, actually, this safety concern, like even when we look at the exhibition centers, almost I see like 90% machinery comes without the enclosures. And laser being such a means we know like very hazardous for a human eyes as well as the radiation. Still, uh, I think even the government should think about it, like how to stop this kind of machine which makes unsafe for the operator, because there is a long-term effect of these radiation to the human health. So I think just to reduce the price, just to sell their product, we should not be playing with the life of human being. So I think this point is very, very valid.
Yeah, so I think slowly we try to do awareness to be illegal import, low cost things, pricing double like gas in official others. This also not growing the industry, because a lot of neighbor countries giving in low cost, they take some money outside from other ways. So this way now we are making it control, and also we also have a predefined pattern for that. So a lot of people are increasing. We're working with some legal points also, and also that is also we encourage that they should be used in manufacturing here. Otherwise, people think that forget to manufacture in India is available very low cost outside. Why not to buy it there? So we can see that more number of machines was initially because of the cost is import. Suppose there are 100 machines demand, and you can say 60 machines is already import because it is so low cost. Slowly, even in our case, also we replace more than 30 to 40 machines by indigenization. So that means there is no life of that machines. We have to make an MTA also making a lot of affairs and also presenting to the government also. That's good part. So at least to promoting to the real products which can be industry to properly sustained. So I appreciate and also congratulations to IMTA to taking initiatives and supporting us to be part of that policies.
Malik, can you highlight 3 points, that will drive the growth of laser cutting machines market in India, and which are going to actually help the industrial manufacturers to improve their practices?
Of course, so automation is definitely going to take over. So the first thing is, the initial growth is definitely going to be SMEs and MSMEs. Okay, so this is going to be the first one. The second, when it becomes mature, and then of course when there is an awareness on the safety, and so one safety is, as all of us said about the enclosure and stuff, and then second is for the fume suction as well. And a lot of things is not being controlled in the right way. So once that awareness comes, automation also will follow, because if you're having something low end, you cannot expect high end automation. So it will take some time. And then the third automation, when it comes, I think the IoT is going to be again following that, because without automation and IoT goes in hand, or digitization goes hand in hand. Without that, again, it is going to be a loophole into the system. So I think these three things: the first is MSMEs and SMEs, second is automation, and third is going to be interlinkage, or like say, completely autonomous, or a lights of operation, which has been called.
There is a question from Mr. Chintan Patel. He's asking that, is it possible to cut MG alloys having thickness of 3 to 6 mm through fiber laser? If yes, then how much power is required?
So basically, MG alloys means, is it an aluminum magnesium alloy or it is only magnesium? That's a question mark.
Right.
Because aluminum magnesium alloys, definitely we have done the cutting. We have the database also available, and the power, generally when we say power, the power is 50% of the mild steel capacity as per our experience. But the most important thing in MG alloys, what we had was the challenge of a dust collector, because the finely cut dust is becoming explosive in nature. So we had to use a very special type of dust collector to cut aluminum magnesium alloys as well.
There is a question for Mr. Maulik. How do customer compare a product being imported from China or any other countries? Because MSMEs, they have to think about the capital investment. So if you are developing from importing from a developed countries, cost matters. If you are bringing from importing from China or some other countries, your quality matters. So would you like to address that, Maulik?
They have to think about the country as well, by the way.
Right, right.
So you have to think for your own country as well. That is also very important.
Yes,
It should not be like, as Mr. Utkarsh has said, that, cheap is not the exact right solution for anything. Anything can be made cheap. Any possible thing, if it is coming cheap, then even our best friends like Amara or Messer, so they also can make it if they really want to. Okay, so it's all about whether the company's vision is in that direction or not, or are they really looking forward to make only cheap stuff. Because if China is able to make, so I'm talking from an India perspective, we as a manufacturer, so we are very clear on our goal that, if anybody in the world is able to manufacture something in the world, then we can. So now it's on the customer's perspective or his perception. It could be cheap for someone and it could be very expensive for someone. So it's very relative to tell that what is cheap or what is economical when it comes to whether goods coming from China. But yes, you get what you pay for. That's the bottom line. You get what you pay for.
can laser be used for microfinishing like deburring or polishing? It's a question.
Yeah, definitely people are using it for deburring and polishing. The kind of laser that is being used is different. So like on YouTube also you will see a lot of videos available for laser scale removal. So if it can be fine tuned, there is laser machining available, laser polishing is also available, but you need to really understand that type of laser to be used and kind of laser, you can say motion of the laser, either it can be done through optics or some mechanical way. But the thing is achievable. The laser can practically do many things. Like the example given is skincare treatment. They remove the moles and scars on the face, so metals can definitely be processed.
Yes, we have to come out with Indian mindset. We always still some sort of a slavery mind. Oh, we cannot do this, or this is not our baby. So this has to come up. So that's why the main motto is given that vocal to local and Atmanirbhar. That's why you should think, okay, let's we have to make here only, not forget about that. I give one example. Let's we are some product which is normally CO2 laser, people forget about that. Some applications we do the CO2 laser, we importing from our neighboring country. We decided not to make CO2 laser, not to import anything from there, because only this country is a very economical for source side. So we decided not to import the CO2 laser. Let's and we put the thoughts to be making laser here only. And that way, when we start the thoughts, first steps, then you can also go further to the how to make it. Because it's a completely special type of laser things. For small application, for we are working some new technology for energies, because there is also big chance for laser to be energy segment also, which can also self-sufficient energy technology without require to import a fuel. So this is replacing the fuel. The new technology working. So there we need also resources. So we previously think that okay, available cheaper from outside. Why to make it here? So first to mindset, and you talk about the government that they have to think that to promoting that. So we have 2-3 projects coming up. We are working with the collaboration with some Israeli company, a very high power laser for industrial purpose, for laser cutting and welding, which is more than 15 kilowatt laser. And that is a got good support from government also. There is big funds given by government to make it indigenously in India with the collaboration with Israel. So that is also, they are slowly understanding that. We are also talking to defense also, they are visiting. We also nobody is visiting to company like us. Big DRDO people are now openly coming every month, 1 or 2 visits, or we also part of that collaboration things. Because now that is the motto of the country also, to make it something which can be useful for country or customize things for our need. And let's go for industry things to be commonly made to people. Yeah, like that.
Where do you wish to see the laser cutting machine industry in 2021? Means beyond 2020. Start with Maulik.
Well, definitely it is going to be growing. It is, I think, post lockdown. During lockdown, we were not aware what exactly is going to be the scenario. But looking at the post lockdown aspect, I think it's going in a very good shape. I think what we're looking at is it's going to replace, as I said already, three technologies: punching, shearing, and some sort of some places of plasmas as well. That's where I'm looking at. 2021 is going to be a really good year.
What I think maybe the main the factor which is pulling behind Indian sheet metal manufacturing uh, is the know-how of the sheet metal fabrication. So as a machine manufacturer, we always focus on the machine capability, machine specification, but we hardly think about the know-how, what should be given to the so that they can produce a product which is at par with the world market. So when the export increases, which I feel that India is such a huge market. So one is the domestic consumption of the sheet metal, and the second is the export to the world market. So once this is improved, I think the consumption of the laser machine, plasma machine will grow exponentially. So I think as a machine manufacturer, it's our responsibility to transfer the know-how of the sheet metal to the customers.
Yeah, I think it's a big futures and exponentially growing it, and you can see it in 2021. What we are if we get 2000 to 220, the same number can be exponentially into in 1 year.
So thank you, panelists, for exchanging your valuable thoughts on today's topic, the future of laser cutting. Delegates, we hope you have enjoyed the session. Before wrapping up the session for the day, we would like to thank our distinguished panelists, Dr. Arvind Patel, Mr. Maulik Patel, Mr. Utkarsh Landekar, and Mr. Amar Khan Jha. I would also like to thank my editor, Mr. Prasad Nair, for taking this initiative. Thanks to all the delegates and viewers. So with this, we would like to announce closing of today's session. Request you to stay tuned for more such sessions. Wish you all a very happy Navratri and Durga Puja. Thank you and goodbye.